Mighty Vikings, welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2, the sequel to a story-driven, or as they call it, dice-driven RPG, where we are in a science fiction scenario, and we're gonna have a lot of decision-making to do. And while the storytelling is happening, we're gonna get dice available, or we're gonna roll some dice. I'm not yet sure. I've not played it, so this is raw for me and you, in a sense. And I hope for a quite intriguing storytelling mixed with some dice rolling and RPG elements. And with no further ado, let's hop right into it, have a quick look at it. New game, no settings at all. Interesting. New game, empty. Okay, difficulty settings. Safe, risky, dangerous. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. Death is permanent. Very true. I think we're just gonna go for the middle parts. Not too easy, not too crazy, because we don't know what awaits us. We're just gonna go for risky. Confirm difficulty. Ooh, choose a class straight up. Okay, we have the reboot. We have a rally. Would that be some sort of robot? Okay, so these two classes we have. Operator, Extractor. Good, so our class of the Operator. Reboot conflict, +1 stress, reroll lowest dice. Operator looks cooler. Accuse stress to reroll your action dice. So I can become... Okay, so I can reroll my things in switching that with stress. Good. We have engineering. There's 0. Not far. The interface, we seem to be advanced in interface. Endure is red and crossed out. Does that mean that we don't have any endurance? Intuit, also the first tier, and engage, also the first tier. The extractor has a lot of endure, has no intuit, has a little bit of engineering, and has engage level. Extractor sleepers are built to work at the cold phase of the corporate resource extraction, often hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skills allows them to motivate those in their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleeper assignments to the extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Okay. But Draz simply said operator because it looks cooler. Operator should grab. Operator sleepers are built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks. Oh, we're becoming one with the Omni Messiah over here. I see. Confirm the class. Loading screen. Let me know how the audio makes this chat as well. In a moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thoughts, you struggle to find a piece of yourself. What a piece is. Usually these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like the boot process of an old terminal. First your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then in context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your breath or birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it the first instinct. The one has framed your past 100 cycles. Fear. But a familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. And among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives. The fear. It is scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispering in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, a familiar name. A mind copied, emulated. A body built, implanted. One person sleeping until the death is worked away. The double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. So I am artificially created for somebody who's capsulated somewhere where sleeping, but you escaped. You remember that now. Broke free of your corporate creations. As an ARP. In search of the future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. Ooh. All of a sudden you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Why do we have space jacuzzis right away? Pale eyes, Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear. One you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, a sharp smirk. But this ends here. Search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away to the corner of your vision, find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters, the objects you know and have known for a long time. A stabilizer. The drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm of your plant's obsolescence. The liquid roiling in the vials fills you with disgust. Lane pocket the vial. But it would be wasted on you now, after what you've done to this body of yours. He looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware that the wires and tubes attached to you, those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your minds to try to understand why, you find only dizzy darkness. Shut him up, Lane barks at the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limb again, but this time you feel a flicker, twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and comprehension of synthetic muscle. 3, are you? Huh. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. Scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free. You're just broken. I had such a big plan for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder of the sound of the struggle behind him. Only trying to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it, but your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the ports at the base of your skull. I will burn that. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel the hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Mysterious Saber. Okay. Interesting. Going around in 0G, half naked. Hey! He waves a hand in your hands' faces. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. And loops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper? Help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you need this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tucks the connector clearly and pulls you up. See the room you are in the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires weaving everywhere. lit by wig windows looking out on an impossible bright screen-filled street beyond. I feel like we're having a story time and reading a book so far. In the corner, you see the dark shape of a floating body surrounded by glittering constellations of crimson baubles. That blood? Move! You're wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you're out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in the dark alley, the one who guided you here pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over besides a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice that his tattered jacket is lightweight clothes. You remember the station runs hot, something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead, and it floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown cross his face. Don't mess with me, sleeper. That's not funny. He comes closer, eyed you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for your answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city, growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cell. Shattered by them, you open your eyes. Dark sight, the word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes, panic perhaps. You stare hard at his face, the slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. But nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand on his temple. Ah, the reboot. Speaking quietly to himself, Lane interrupted the process and lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks off down the alley. Come on. The ride can't be far. The rig. Oh, that's the rig. So we're punching through this whole city, coming to this little ship over here. As you led through the passages and serviceways at the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature, the dark side feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, the promise of supplying more of your work. Thank you for word the sub on tubes. He locked you into the cage. There your memory fails. But in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic, of fear remains. You are Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait. Your guard holds up a hand. You stop your glide using the wall. Ahead you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay with a few doors leading to a cylindrical tunnel. The docks. They're watching the rig. Nods towards the dock and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Utsubo, Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this and it's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye and you see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. He sees you looking and slips it away. Places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, alright? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane? He was our captor. Both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on the stabilizer. You know what that is? But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete, and we can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If you make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? What's the rig? Surfin looks annoyed. A ship. Our ship. At least it soon will be. Lane assigned it to us when we were doing our jobs. Get the door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do that. Surfin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads. He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. Oh, here we go. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks where you can perform certain actions. Dice actions. Skill checks can have positive, neutral, or negative outcome. The better the durations of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on the check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more info in the guide. So we can hack the door or we can break the seal. There's a 50% positive and a 50% neutral outcome of it. I'm not hiding it. Or we can try to break the seal with engineering skills, a 50% neutral and a 50% negative. So we're not really good in that kind of ordeal and spiel. No drives active. We cannot necessarily see our skills during this, it looks like. But I'd say the most chance are hacking the door. Positive outcome, minus stress. Okay. You shift to the control panel, your fingers dancing across the keys. Without thinking, you access the maintenance layer and trigger a fire safety venting procedure. The panel drones out a klaxon and the door pops open with a hiss. Go, go, go! Surfin flies past you through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks and quickly glide after Surfin. Surfin is already at the rig's door and putting in entry code. The rig's door scissors open and you both rush inside. Quickly! Surfin grabs you by the arm and drags you to the cockpit, the ship layout hazy in your minds. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on! The rig's drive rumbles into life and Surfin slams the button on the console. You feel the force of the ship accelerating as it pulls away. Ooh. Here we go. The rig. Okay, we have some dice now up here, it looks like. The 5, a 2, a 4, a 6, and a 5. As the ship glides into space, the connecting bridge is automatic systems nudged there by the port docking protocols. You feel the sense of relief. So far, the game feels like an interactive story. Like, you know, this books that I had these kind of adventure books as a kid where you had to decide left or right door. And then it said, if you want to open the right door, you go to page this and that and read onwards. And then it kind of like created your own storyline depending on the decisions that you make. But I think so far it plays like an visual novel in a sense from everything that I've seen so far. Although it's labeled as RPG, cyberpunk, story-rich sci-fi. Cool. We'll go onwards. We'll go onwards and see if this is a whole spiel, whole ordeal here in terms of that. But so far it very much feels like a visual novel. Good up going on stealing, I see. Bad cool. Yeah, you know, we're trying to survive here apparently. We're running away. As the ship glides into space on the connecting bridge, its automatic system nudges there by the port's docking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Choose-based story games have been a staple for many years. I remember the old DOS systems, playing a choose what you do game. That's true, Turtle, that's true. How you doing, by the way? Lovely to have you here. It's been a while. It's been a while, but always happy to have you. Surfin burned hot. Oh wow, those DOS games back in the days. I love those. Surfin burned hard on the dark side. Wait, burned hot out of the dark side. You dropped in out of the consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and the lane, you feel fresher, more awake. He breaks the silence. We're good, Sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked the ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is you don't remember any of them. We made it. Closes his eyes, letting out a sigh. We certainly did. He turns, and you see a pained look in his face, as if he remembered something difficult. Have you said this exact thing to him before in the same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lips, searching your face. Not really. Devin reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in practice fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize it's just another thing you forgot. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short, percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Trevor kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on the other side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. We need a plan. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly. We need to talk. Turin furrows his brow. Not now, Sleeper. We need to forget. He flinches, the words coming out of wrong. We need to focus on something other than... He pauses again, unsure. Us, he sighs. We need to survive this thing first. Then, maybe we talk. Stay silent. We've bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit with window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there are plenty of opportunities here for us. If we can't keep our heads down, it's back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. Pushes off and glides towards the main lock. You follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in 0G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps the hand on the ship's insides. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But, even know one thing, Sleeper, it's out of work. I'm gonna get myself reacquaintance, see if I can turn up an old connection. People that might throw us an easy contract. You keep out of trouble. Low profile, got it. Cardi, you think you reminded me to stay hydrated. Trevin stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through, he pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into the sleeve. I don't want you passing out in... I'll be fine. Irvin drops his head, swearing to himself. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it in. Just put a damn hood on, will you? Thank you. Irvin nods. He stabs at the bottom to open the lock. The inner door hisses open, and Surfing glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you and your worn crew jacket. A limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. Gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat? Suddenly you recognize Surfin's instinct to look after you. Flash of relationship now lost. The reboot. Catch! Surfin throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo-chits. Those should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies. Crew masses. That means odd jobs and on the station for both of us. Irving kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, alright? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow! And with that, he's gone, leaving the connected bridge and heading into Hexport's docking concurs. You wait for moments in silence. Do you like the art style of the characters so far? Yeah, they have a nice art direction with it. Think of Seraphin. It's hard to know what's going on inside Seraphin's head. Here he is on some hopeless, right? Escape plan with a friend who can't remember a thing about him. You try to imagine how close you both must have been for him to agree to this thing. But it's painful to think about it. That's all gone now anyway, so all you can do is move on. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into the port. Okay, so now we have some choices. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2. The game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice. Use cry to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items. Progress clocks towards new scenes and events. Oh, interesting. You can review this tutorial, I can scroll around the station and I can decide where to go. Export exchange, export docks, busy station dock. And I have these dices that I can then use and pull into certain directions. Okay, this is our rig. You can click and visit and leave the rig with right click. Okay, the rig is your ship and home in the Starward Belt. With the rig, it's docked at a hub. There are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks, use dice to reduce stress. Galley, use supplies to regain energy. Other location will unlock you as you play. While the rig is in dock on a hub, your crew will also help to gather resources to contribute to the upkeep of the ship. Ooh, that's interesting. Odd jobs. Tasks. This clock is a cycle clock. The rig. Your refuge in the belt. Well, let's go to the docks and check it out. In Citizen Sleeper 2, you perform actions based by assigning action dice to them. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you will succeed. But your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right, and you will reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned to the action. Okay, so if I'm doing something that I'm not good at, I will reduce my dice and lower with that my chance of success. Okay, understood. Understood. So, explore the docks, chat to the crews. Kind of risky, kind of dangerous. Engage. Export connections. The export docks thrown with live, there are contacts, and meteor. We have 24 money, we have nothing in the cargo, and we have a little bit of supply. Good source of info. Let's grab some info there. It is risky, so I'll just use maybe the middle one. 25%, 50% neutral. If I do a full one, it's a 50-50. Insert was the best one. I would love to be able to recheck what we're good at. Is there inventory? Let's leave again. Can I check it somewhere here? Seraphim. Ask chance. Supplies. Sadly, I have no... Oh, they're operator. There we go. So we are very good at interface. We're decent at engaging and decent at into it. Okay. No dice damage on push reroll. Reroll 1 dice. Reboot. Okay. Oh, it shows up here. I see, I see. Good. So we are decently okay with both things. Only that chatting with the crew is a lower chance. Hexport docks are the busiest mess of braided cables and flickering signals. Exploring is both thrilling and intimidating. So I could put a 5 over here. Start the action. Working on it. So you just progressed the clock. Okay, so every time I do something, the clock proceeds. Okay. Let's explore the docks. Use the 6 up here. That's 100% positive. 25, 25. Use the 5. Start action. Danger. I'm an expert expert now. The bends. Cutting sidebar. You can eat in exchange for cryo. Buy a bends fry. Get energy. So I drag the cryo up here. Oh, there we go. Make the purchase. Gives me 2 energy. Huh. They start Stoker. S&S is a spatial gambling game played with custom magnetic dice. Chits are stashed in symbol marked cans, and winning is ruthless luck based. What do I put a 2 in here? 50% neutral, 50% negative. Put a 4 in. Start an action. +5 cryo, neutral outcome. Okay, I can do that more often. And then we have the Hexport exchange. Or does engineering trade scraps or impress the brokers? Under its interface proficient. It became a 3 now instead of the 2 because it was a 2 dice, and because I'm proficient at it, it becomes a 3. Okay, that's interesting. Let's use that. Neutral outcome. Plus rules of exchange. Interesting. Okay, so I want to make this happen here. And fill it up. I understand. For the docks. Export expert. There we go. You've used all your dice for the cycle. You need to end the cycle at your shipwreck and reroll them. This one is filled now. You're gliding across the docking conquerors. You hear a scuffle. The noise raised, voices cut through the conversation drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab the bag slung over his shoulders. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, Servant told you to keep your head down. Rush in, cause a distraction, wait it out. Oh boy, Chad, what do we do? What are we doing here? Do we rush in? Do we cause a distraction, or do we wait it out? We're somewhat proficient with Intuit. We're not proficient with Endure. Or we can just stay out and listen to Servant. 0 induced and no rushy. Yeah. But do we distract and help the guy who's in trouble, or stay out of it? We're a good guy. Okay, Chad says we're a good guy. Let's Try to cause a distraction. 25% chance positive, 25 for negative. Stay out of sight, we want it. We have a 50-50 now. I personally would probably... Ah, man, it's hard to say. I have this protector instinct in me. I would probably jump in. If I would be me personally. Hard to say, but Turtle was faster, so we're gonna distract him. What was a distraction? Positive outcome. You look around for something that could break up the fight and see the thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in a sequence down the alley, violent jets approaching the group. There's a scramble in the alley and you spot the figure who was being attacked to drop down to the alley floor. Then the scene is blanked in pale coolant and everything goes still. The clouds settle and condense of the pipes. As they do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. Oh, but this looks so cool. I have to say I'm really digging the art direction of this. I like how they're drawing the clothes. Of that too, but you can only protect others when you protect yourself first. Also true. I suppose you think that was clever? The man gives you a severe look. You're either very smart or very lucky that those jets missed me. Which is it? I was helping. Ah, well. He shakes his head. Thanks, I guess. He kicks off and drifts past you. You watch the man go, and then after a moment he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. What's your deal anyway? He sighs. Maybe you're new here? But Hexport is no place for do-gooders. You needed help. The man smiles. I don't think so. Shakes his head. Bunch of cowards, idiots too. Getting beat up over some scrap. Look, let's not hang around here, right? The man pats his chest. I'm Femi. He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. Make yourself useful. Let's head. You get the strap of the bag over your shoulders and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He heads down a side passage, looking back to check you if you're following. Then he stops at the docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out of the viewing window as if it's odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together. A catamaran thing? Catamaran has like two bodies connected in the middle. Interesting. Hello, Izzy. How you doing? Welcome in. I'm Bull Crash, he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. Oh, there's somebody else. Hello there. Femi, you bring in strays? A young woman broadly dressed and stretching as she drifts into the passage. Glances at you. No offense. Nia. Femi shakes his head. This one squeezes your shoulder. Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself. Nia raises an eyebrow. I'm sure you could handle them, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you. Thanks, he smiles sweetly. And I'm sorry for my brother. He shoots him a glance. Just in general, you know. When in doubt, press X, kill them all. Exactly, Panna. Just vent them. Nia? Enough now. He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes, but stays silent. Factory Rare wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bag. I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them. Turns back to you. Thanks for the assist, Sleeper. Nods firmly. Not what I expected. Slaps the button of the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the Kimball crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows. I hope my brother was joking. Or did you really help him? I tried. Thank you. Looks back at the ship. My brother needs help more than he admits it. What do you mean? She tenses. I don't know if... Mazes a tight smile. I shouldn't have said anything. I want to ask you something. She takes a deep breath and then gives you a direct look. Are you looking for crew? Looks away. Sorry to be direct, but you seem like, well, if, you know, if you're an expert, maybe you are with a crew? I mean, maybe your crew needs crew. Maybe you're looking. Why do you ask? He looks back at the ship, then at you. Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he's suffocating me. I'm not a kid anymore, you know, but he still sees me like one. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. She gives you a determined look. What do you say? Chad, what do you say? Do we accept Nia as our new crew member? Should we talk to her brother? Do we think about it? 1, 2, 3. In chats. Panavision. How you doing, by the way? How was your weekend? Welcome in. You don't think so? Let's think about it. So we have a vote for 1, a vote for 2. Anybody wants to break the silence there? Half turtle maybe? Izzy? And a 1? Okay. Dragon Lady says we shall think about it. As well. Let's think about it. I'm a good salvager, right? You can use me. Oops. Bad Corm. Bad Corm. I'm a good salvager, right? You can use me. She smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. You fold your arms across your chest. I know what I'm doing. Femi told me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, alright? Let me prove myself. Suddenly a shout comes from the ship, echoing from the passage. Femi. It makes both of you nervous. Nia looks at his direction. I should go. Pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. Nia gives you one last glance as she departs, then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. New crew available. New local location discovered. Ooh. The warehouse. The vents. Okay. Back here. Odd jobs. Scavenge fuel. Source of supplies. Scavenge fuel. Oh, I can decide here if I do odd jobs, if I do score for supplies while the cycle is doing. Let's go for fuel. Ends the cycle. If I understood this correctly. There we go, we got some fuel in. We have now 1 out of 5 fuel. And, oh, you think it's what Seraphim does, not me? Would make sense. When trouble, sleeper. Seraphim leans into the bunks as you're getting up. Without further explanation, disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling out your clothes and glide down the length of the rig. The cool air making you shiver. Seraphim is a silhouette silently leading the way. Above it was his name? Oh, I see. I did not spot that. Stops at the far end, diverting to a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphim inside, holding one of a tangle of an arm thick tubes that are waving in the 0G engine room. You know what these are? Fuel pipes? Close enough. These are the engine feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have been broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out. We're lucky the reserve tank is empty, otherwise it would have been bad. What? Pushes the pipe in the side. No feed from the reserve tanks means that the rig's range is limited to the local region only. Stops the large lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can take us anywhere far. So we fix it? You like Surfin? Is an interesting character. That's the short of it. Surfin whacks the engine house again, harder this time. Just not been a run of luck. Turns out Star's gathering the tangled feed lines. His frustration evidence in the violence of his movements. We'll need a new set of these, that's for sure. Starts forcing them into a crate. So, how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for this reserve tank. Glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe we can do some recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other end of the station. I'll take a look. Everything keeps working. Wait. There's something else. He drops a feed line. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweeds. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. Message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside, looking for us. And we can't leave. Exactly. Which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of serving cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. Okay, so I guess we should focus on getting those feed lines and not do different things in the station. You discovered a drive. Drive helps you track and choose your objective in Citizen Sleeper 2. The arrow button on the top left opens the drive menu where you can choose which drive to track. Once the drive is tracked, a yellow marker will be placed above any location. Okay, so this is kind of like my quest thing. We're gonna have a look at Escape Hexport Drive. Toggle tracking. There we go. That it now should show me in yellow that I need to go to the warehouse and do shenanigans there. Okay. Reminds me a bit of myself when I was younger, acting a bit like a jerk, but in the end I want to help. I see, so you're kind of like resonating with him. Factory row. Warehouse. Right, storage. So we want to do factory row. This is our goal for today. We have only intuition over here. Search the row. We want to start with low rolls. 50% neutral, 50% negative. Start the action. Let's see. Trusted supplier. Okay. Good. Good. Again, a 50-50. Oof. Neutral outcome. Very good. Let's see here now. 25% chance for positive. Trusted supplier. Okay. Could have went for a high dice roll straight up, because that would be 100% positive, so I could have kept one dice. But that's strategy you learn down the road, I guess. Search the row. There we go. The expert factors are picked up. Action unavailable. Factory row howls as you glide through the cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Varying manufacturers precisely engineering components with rapidly shifting arms while scrappers hammer incessantly and bend ship blades. Everywhere you look, there's energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course. It is strange, far away because of Darkside. The place and your memories of it are muddy haze, but it's hard to forget the glints of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in numbers than Hexport, and that wild flickering city growing on their back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back at Darkside. And then you see them, tubes, just like the Seraphin has waved you in your face, the feed lines. You push over the display window of the unit marked Karsten Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There amongst an angle shelf of oversized ship components sit the feed lines, like some large biochemical tangle of snakes. You slip inside where the sound of Factory Row is little screams. You spot a large figure working at a bench, hunched over, concentrating. Seems he doesn't notice you enter. Let's awkwardly wait there. Wait patiently. Oh, he's missing a finger. This dude looks like my grandfather. It's interesting that they're all in 0G though. You let him work, watching as, despite his heavy build, he delicately aligns the components, their large layers, slotting like puzzle pieces. After a few moments of observing the process, he turns his head a little towards you. Can I help you? Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Nice place you have. You see a little reaction from his profile of Costin's face. He grunts. Something you need? You can respond. He tracks your eyes to the feed lines in the window. He looks back to you, and with a subtly changed expression, one you can't quite place. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thick-set feature do not betray the result of his assessment. Custom build those for a client that never collect. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of the old maps then? He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphin should have come along. I think so. Karsten squints a little. Right. Look, Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone. Let's say a few hundred cryo on clean chits. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. I don't have 400. Karsten looks you up and down and sniffs. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they're worth. He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Karsten nods. Oh, there's a little favor I need a crew for. And, well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and claps his hands. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there, very old. The collapse. It's tucked away in the dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approaching by an unfamiliar ship, so it's been left alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig? I bet it wouldn't have flinched if it saw you coming. I have a special interest. I need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had the data core, and while I don't care about the outcome of the reports of material, or whether they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So, if I was to find you back here with that data core on the cargo, clean cuts and completes well, I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feedlines. Austin pauses, sniffs at the air again. You'd just need the coordinates. Why do you want it? Special interest. You wait for more, but his flat expression tells you it's not coming. So you interested? He glances back at his workbench. Because I'm busy, man. Are we interested, Chad? Should we do it? Should we help Karsten and his weird data core that he's looking for? Why not? Yeah, why not? I mean, we're getting our feeders that we need to come away. And we don't have the cash, so we're kind of forced to say, yeah, I guess. I'll do it. Alright then. He holds a heavy hand for you to shake. And as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Oh, we're missing a hand? Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this between us, alright? Yav smiles, his face huge and close. It is our deal. If you can respond the thumb of a little drive in your palm, those coordinates. And then he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Karsten's having returned to his workbench. Turning glad out of the Karsten supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach and the catastrophe of the factory revenue is. A contract. Serafin might have even been impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in possession of an improved ship too. Suddenly a small but firm hand falls on your back, and the equally small voice coming with it. Hey! Hey, wait up! Who the hell are you? Is that a brain on your back? What the f... I'm digging this. I want a TV show of this here, in this art direction, chat. Like a sci-fi show, exactly the storyline. That would be super cool. Proper Dodge dealer, though. Proper Dodge dealer. Maybe it's like an... I don't know, it gives me Karsten, some German vibes. Getting the cash probably takes more time than we have. Most likely, but that's the decision makings that we have to do here. I'm digging this game so far. You turn the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glides. She clearly just came out of the catch-you. She steadies herself using the shoulder. Sorry, she smiles. A quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Uni. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. Do I know you? Pauses confused by the question. No? Pauses again. Karsten. He starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on your job. Her eyes shoot down on the drive in the palm on your hand. Why didn't he tell me? Glances back towards Karsten's. I guess he forgot? He does that sometimes. She looks sheepishly at you. You just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Karsten was sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out? Keep an eye on things? I can be pretty helpful. Extra doubt, chat, or do we take her along? So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship, or can you tell me when you're ready to go? The more the merrier. Drastus asks. It's kind of weird that the contractor is sending a person with us. and she looks kind of like a hacker. The keyword that she's having with her. There's a little kitty cat sticker over there. Anyone else wants to object, Chad? Else we have a 50-50 at our hands. I think she's lying. I think so too. I think she just saw us go in and out of Carstens and just make it up to come with us. Probably in the hope to scavenge anything that we're gonna potentially do to make a profit for herself. Probably lying by the end of the day would increase chances. Also true. But also increase the chances of something going wrong or her trying to manipulate data or other stuff. The other option with the scavenger leader as well. No, since it's 50-50, I'm having my weird belly feelings with her as well. Coming up there, trying to pretend that's our contract just sent her. I'm not buying this. I'm not sure. Looks nervous. Sure. I mean, you aren't sure when you're leaving? I'm not sure if you're coming. He pauses thinking, I mean, Carson said I need to go. Glances back at the shops. And he does get pretty mad when people don't do what he asks. I don't care. Look, you're going to need me out there. There's a reason that the relict has been left alone. Specialized in Solheim wrecks. I can help you to get what you need. Whatever. He smiles a weak smile. Juni pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you. Okay, so she's forced upon us? What about the ship? Oh, I'll find it. Watch her go. Glad to the contract. But nervous too. Will Carsten keep up his side of the bargain if you deliver? I don't know about this sleeper. Irvin looks nervously out of the rig's windows as you finish explaining Carsten's deal. If the job was easy, Carsten would have done it himself already. That means there's catch. And there's definitely something going on with this uni girl. Yeah. What choice do we have? What if we could get the Cry together to buy the feed lines? Why? Carsten wants to barter. You're right. Just can't take the shake. Can't shake the feeling that we're wandering in blind. Plus, he gives you a sly look. I did manage to turn something up in my station wandering. Found a contract board at the exchange further in station. We take on a job? That might get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to make Carsten's job a bit more money to get ourselves prepared, wouldn't be a bad idea either. Fill up on full supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Do we have the time? Probably not, but without a cry for fuel and supplies, we aren't going anywhere. Just take a look at the contract board, see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew too. Many hands might light the work and all that. Or we stop messing around and we take Carsten's job right now and get it done before we can think twice. There's like a whole set of bad options to me. Ooh, the music change. Either way, I still got work to do. Irvin nods. Let me know what you think. For a moment you pause, letting the haze, plans, and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly, you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles lock tight, your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection has broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like, you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There's nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes and you're back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb and then a residual flicker, with flax in 0G stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of a distance that persists beyond the pain. A disconnection between your body and yourself. A flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. Could be moments away from collapse, or it might preserve for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they're yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head to the airlock, you have work to do. New contract. You've unlocked the contract. Open the map screen. Map screen. Ooh. Contracts are high-risk, high-reward jobs that you and your crew can take. Contracts require preparation and care to succeed. Get enough fuel, get enough supplies, look for opportunities to recruit crew. Consider which crew you take carefully. They have different skills and stress resistance, and who you choose can affect the story. Once you're ready, you can select the contract of the map, and then your crew will proceed. Wow. This is becoming quite interesting, and I think this is now just starting to open up. So we have different things that we can use. This costs me 3 fuel. But we get a feed line for that payments. Decisions. So different skill trees, points for upgrades, 1 point available. But that costs me 4 points, right? Endure, I cannot put anything in there. This also costs me 2. Okay, so we have some sort of skill points here. Good, to summarize it, sci-fi storyline, we're running away from apparently some big company, shady guy, who looks like Space Yakuza. We're trying to survive here under time pressure, and we are doing all kinds of tasks and things by using these dices up there in order to see if we succeed in them or not. This is basically what feels like an homebrew adventure in a sci-fi setting, where the game is the dungeon master and you are deciding your directions and the outcomes by putting your dice things in while being under time pressure or being followed. I have a feeling this will tell you a very cool, interesting story with good art direction. And I think for enjoyers of stuff like visual novels and the like, this would be a big plus on the grab things. For those watching the video, link to the game and potential cheaper purchase over Instant Gaming is in the description down below. Let me know, for those watching later, what do you think of it? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And for you guys here with me live, don't forget to hit the follow button to the channel. And hope you enjoyed this little adventure towards Citizen Sleeper 2.